So here we have Bob with his bat, and when Bob swings the bat, the end of the bat is going to be 2 meters high from the ground. Next to Bob is a spring mechanism with a spring constant of 2,000 newtons per meter that is designed to launch a 20-kilogram baseball up into the air when compressed 0.5 meters. We also know that the spring, when fully extended, is 1 meter tall. So now we need to find out if the spring will launch the ball high enough for Bob to swing at, and we're going to assume no air resistance. First, we need to find the velocity of the ball coming off of the spring. To do so, we can create the following equation with the law of conservation of energy in mind. The initial kinetic energy, which is the energy of motion, plus the initial elastic potential energy, the energy contained within a spring, equals the final kinetic energy plus the final elastic potential energy. The formula for kinetic energy is 1/2 mass times velocity squared, while the formula for elastic potential energy is 1/2 the spring constant of the spring times the distance the spring is compressed squared. So, before the ball is launched, we know that there's going to be no kinetic energy yet, and after the ball is launched, we know there's no elastic potential energy. As a result, we can equate the initial EPE with the final KE. And we have all our variables except for velocity, which is what we need for the next step. So we can therefore write 1/2 the spring constant, which is 2,000 newtons per meter, times 0.5 meters squared equals 1/2 20 kilograms times velocity squared. And after doing simple algebra, we find that 5 meters per second equals velocity. Finally, we need to find the maximum height of the ball after it has been launched. To do so, we can create the following equation. The initial kinetic energy plus the initial gravitational potential energy, which is the energy based on an object's position in relation to the ground, equals the final kinetic energy plus the final gravitational potential energy. Now, the formula for GPE is the mass of the object times the force of gravity times the height of the object, the height from the ground. Now, all we need to do is just solve for the height in this equation, but we have to keep in mind that there is still a height to this ball initially because the spring is 1 meter tall. But we know that it's not going to have any kinetic energy in the end because we're finding its maximum height. So we're going to say 1/2 times 20 kilograms times 5 meters per second squared plus 20 kilograms times 10 meters per second squared times 1 meter equals 20 kilograms times 10 meters per second squared times height. And in the end, we find that 2.25 meters equals height, which therefore means it's high enough.